The family heirloom jade bracelet my parents gave my wife ended up on her assistant's dog. The assistant flaunted it in a social media post. This little dog now bears his master's mark, forever loyal to his master. My secretary, Isabel Stone, sent me the screenshot. The photo showed the assistant, Ethan Miller, posing with his dog. The jade bracelet had been broken into two pieces. One part was around the dog's neck. The other he'd fashioned into a choker for himself. I sent a message demanding an explanation from my wife, Victoria. Silence. 10 minutes later, I posted an update across all platforms, captioning it, "Haute Couture fabric really is superior. Even livestock looks somewhat presentable wearing it." The photo showed every piece of high-end designer clothing from Victoria's wardrobe, tailored and fitted onto pigs. Chapter 1. After posting, I silenced my phone and put it in my pocket. Then I grabbed my keys, left the house, and drove to her fashion studio. This morning, Victoria Bellwether told me she was going on an out-of-town business trip. Now I knew her business trip was actually a date with her little assistant. I called a locksmith to pry open the studio door, then walked straight to the second-floor display cabinets, scissors in hand. Every garment inside represented over a decade of my wife's sweat and tears. Next Saturday, she was supposed to take these clothes to the grand finals of a prestigious fashion design competition. Barring any surprises, she would have won, fulfilling the dream she'd chased for 10 years. A humorless smile touched my lips. Without hesitation, I smashed my fist into the glass display case. It shattered instantly. In less than 10 minutes, every single piece of clothing inside was shredded beyond recognition. Surveying the now empty studio, I finally sat down, satisfied, and took out my phone. My chat notifications and missed calls showed a rare 99. In our 5 years of marriage, this level of frantic contact was unprecedented. I had just tapped on a voice message when Victoria's call came through again. The moment I answered, a barrage of accusations hit me. "Sincere Clark, have you lost your mind? Do you have any idea how much money I spent on those clothes?" I settled back leisurely, a slight curve to my lips. "What's wrong? Getting upset over a few dresses? You seemed quite generous when you gave my parents' bracelet to your assistant. Is the multi-million-dollar jade bracelet my parents gave you worth less than these few pieces of clothing?" Victoria was rendered speechless, choking on my words. After a few seconds of silence, she spoke slowly. "That wasn't the bracelet from your parents. I bought a new one as a reward for his hard work. Sincere, the bracelet your parents gave me is still safe on my wrist. I didn't give it away." With that, she sent a photo of herself wearing a jade bracelet, the same emerald green hue. But I knew, no matter how similar, it wasn't the one my parents gave her. That one was custom-made, engraved with the initials of both our names. My initials had been ground off by Ethan Miller, and the piece bearing my name was now on his dog's neck. The part with Victoria's name he wore himself. Commendable, the effort she put into deceiving me. I chuckled softly. "Is that so? Well, my apologies then. I really did put your clothes on pigs. I'm in your studio right now. Bring the original bracelet back to me within 30 minutes. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what will happen to what's left in your display cases." Hearing this, Victoria's voice filled with unbridled fury. "Sincere Clark, you wouldn't dare. If you dare destroy my designs, I will never forgive you." I replied calmly. "I look forward to seeing how you won't forgive me. Friendly reminder. It will take you at least 3 hours to get back here, and it will take me less than 5 minutes to destroy everything." Faced with my ruthless threat, Victoria hung up. 2 minutes later, she sent me 2 photos. One showed the shattered pieces of the jade bracelet. The other was a courier tracking number. "Satisfied? I got it back. It's just a pile of junk. If you want it, I'll ship it to you." I generously turned my phone around, snapped a picture of the chaotic mess on the floor, and sent it to her. "Satisfied. Very satisfied. It's just a pity your clothes got ruined too. Looks like you won't be making it to the Fashion Week competition next week." The moment the message sent, a hysterical roar came through the phone. "Sincere Clark, are you insane? That's my dream. Worked for 10 years. 10 years I leisurely toyed with a stray design sketch in my hand, a wry smile playing on my lips. Your dream? How much is it worth? You crossed me. This is the price you pay. With that I hung up, ignoring her impotent rage. Victoria and I had an arranged marriage. Our families were business partners. On our engagement day, my mother gave Victoria the Clark family heirloom bracelet, traditionally passed down to the daughter-in-law. She had both our names engraved inside, hoping we would be forever united, supporting each other. After marriage, feelings gradually developed, and we shared several years of sweet, happy life. Later, the initial passion faded, but we remained cordial and respectful. I thought we could continue supporting each other indefinitely. I never expected that after just 5 years, the person sleeping beside me would harbor other intentions. I understand that love has an expiration date, that not everything lasts forever, but I absolutely will not tolerate such blatant betrayal within a marriage. Even more so, I won't allow my parents' memory and gifts to be trampled upon like this. Chapter 2. The next day, Victoria took the earliest flight back home. She stormed into my company, ignoring Isabel Stone's attempts to stop her. Kicking open my office door, she slammed a pile of shredded paper onto my desk. Sincere Clark, explain this wasn't ruining my clothes enough. Why did you have to destroy my design sketches too? Do you know I spent over 2 months working overtime, drawing those bit by bit? Her arrival didn't surprise me in the least. I looked up, glanced at my secretary. Isabel took the hint, turned, left, and closed the door behind her. I didn't like the look of them, so I shredded them. You're so generous, surely you wouldn't mind losing a couple of sketches? Sincere Clark, are you crazy? You're doing all this just because of a bracelet. Seeing her hysterical outburst, I laughed. Victoria Bellwether, you are married. Do I need to remind you? I expect you to understand boundaries. Giving a bracelet to your male assistant? What were you thinking? Do you enjoy keeping pets that much? The old days are over, still playing master and servant games? Or perhaps I should buy your little assistant a dog chain, so you can keep him on a leash at all times? My words caught Victoria off guard for a moment. Then she retorted furiously, Sincere Clark, you're a madman, a sicko. When did I ever play master and servant games with him? I told you, there's nothing improper between us. Ethan works diligently. What's wrong with rewarding a subordinate with a gift? What he does with it, who he gives it to, what right do I have to judge? Instead, it's your unreasonable tantrum that has destroyed 2 months of preparation. Hearing her accusations, I laughed bitterly. My unreasonable tantrum? Fine. Consider it my unreasonable tantrum, but don't forget, your design team, your studio, I arranged all of it. I can give you the chance to chase your dreams, and I can shatter those dreams in an instant. This was the first time we'd had such a massive argument since getting married. She stared blankly for a moment, her eyes filled with disappointment. Sincere Clark, I never knew you were this kind of person, casually using your power to bully others. How are you any different from a robber? Your studio, I don't want it from now on. Don't you dare try to control my life again. With that, she turned and slammed the door violently on her way out. I walked out of the office and saw her assistant, Ethan Miller, waiting by the door. Seeing Victoria emerge, he scurried over like a sycophant, helped her up, and led her away. Before leaving, he glanced back at me, a flicker of triumph in his eyes. Chapter 3. From that day on, we entered a cold war. Victoria never came back home. I was busy with work and didn't contact her either. A week later, Isabel sent me another screenshot. It was a post from Ethan Miller's social media feed. Missed out on the top prize, but still got a great placement. Ms. Bellwether is truly brilliant. Thanks to the boss for taking me to the auction to broaden my horizons. The generous lady boss said she's making a clean sweep bid just for me tonight. Attached were 2 photos. One showed them on a stage receiving a design award. The other showed Victoria and Ethan sitting together at an auction house. Both were smiling brightly, their body language intimate. I had thought that after the previous lesson and warning, Victoria would show some restraint. I hadn't expected her to push her luck like this. Let's see how you make a clean sweep with me around. I immediately asked Isabel for the auction house address and drove over. As soon as I entered, the auction house manager spotted me, his eyes lighting up immediately. "Mr. Clark, what brings you here?" He greeted me warmly. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, my gaze swept across the audience. I spotted Victoria at once, and Ethan Miller beside her. Victoria had been chatting happily with Ethan. Seeing me, the smile froze on her face. She looked up, puzzled. "What are you doing here? What do you want?" A flicker of guilt crossed her face, but she forced herself to remain calm. The assistant beside her had the sense to greet me, "Mr. Clark, good evening." I raised an eyebrow, glanced at him, and ignored him disdainfully. My attention quickly returned to Victoria. "And what are you doing here?" Victoria sounded impatient. "You destroyed Ethan's things last time." Not only did he not complain, but he also helped me salvage the situation for the design competition. We didn't win first place, but we still ranked well. Can't I buy him a thank you gift? As if afraid I'd interfere again, she emphasized her next words. "Mr. Clark, I'm not using a single cent of your money. This is from my competition prize money. So this time, you have no right to interfere." I calmly scanned her face, my smile not reaching my eyes. "Is that so? It seems Ms. Bellwether is truly kind to her assistant. Like Ms. Bellwether, I also plan on buying some gifts from my employees. You don't mind, do you, Ms. Bellwether?" Our confrontation drew the attention of everyone in the hall. Victoria's face flushed with embarrassment. But this was an auction, filled with industry leaders. She had to maintain a composed smile. Ethan Miller tried to smooth things over. "Mr. Clark, whatever gift you want, just let Ms. Bellwether buy it for you. Why trouble yourself coming all this way?" I shot him a look, sneering. "What's this? Lost your dog chain, so now all you can do is bark? Who do you think you are? Do I need your advice on how to conduct myself?" Ethan, publicly humiliated, looked mortified. Victoria stepped protectively in front of him, warning me sternly, "Sincere Clark, watch your mouth." Chapter 4. The commotion was finally quelled by the organizers stepping in. After the brief argument, the auction officially began. The first item was a famous French watch, starting bid $500,000. Ethan's eyes lit up, and he nudged Victoria's sleeve. Victoria immediately understood. When the bidding reached $3 million, she decisively raised her paddle. A clean sweep bid. Her declaration made almost half the audience lower their paddles. Just as the gavel was about to fall, I raised my own paddle. Add 1 cent. The price climbed to $3.1 million. Victoria frowned, displeased, but continued bidding. $3.5 million. $3,500,000. $4 million. $4 million. Every time Victoria raised the price, I added just 1 cent. After several rounds, Victoria's face darkened. "What exactly are you trying to do?" she demanded. I replied coolly, "Nothing. Just normal bidding." "Is there a problem, Ms. Bellwether?" The guests watched our tense standoff, barely daring to breathe. The Clark family was the wealthiest in Astoria City. With businesses spanning various industries, no one dared to offend us easily. And as Mrs. Clark, Victoria was also someone they wouldn't cross. So after Victoria initially made her clean sweep declaration, they had instinctively lowered their paddles. Now they just watched us, husband and wife, bidding against each other. Finally, Ethan Miller intervened again. "Miss Bellwether, if Mr. Clark likes this watch, let him have it." I didn't really like it that much anyway. With Ethan deferring, Victoria had no choice but to stop bidding against me. The watch went to me. Victoria shot me a dark look. It clearly conveyed her anger and warned me to back off. But when the second item came up, the moment Victoria raised her paddle for another clean sweep bid, I did exactly the same thing, continuing the bidding. Victoria finally snapped, "You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? What did I do to offend you?" Watching her publicly argue with me, getting angry over another man, I tired of playing this cat and mouse game. A slight curve touched my lips. "All right, I'll drop the pretense." I raised my hand, addressing the auctioneer. "All items Ms. Bellwether makes a clean sweep bid on." I will bid 1 cent more than her price. No upper limit. My declaration made Victoria explode with fury. She glared at me. Livid, sincere Clark. Are you sick? What the hell do you want? I remained calm, speaking slowly and deliberately. Like I said, I'm here to buy gifts for my employees. Miss Bellwether, you always have excellent taste. You don't mind if I buy the same items, do you? Victoria's face turned ashen. Whispers erupted around us. Feeling the strange looks cast her way, Victoria's pride and reputation were utterly shredded. Finally, she could only drag Ethan Miller away in indignant anger. Chapter 5. I had all the auction items packaged as gifts and sent them to core employees at the Clark Group. Receiving the gifts, the employees were ecstatic, posting thanks online. Thank you, Mr. Clark, for the clean sweep bid gifts for us. High-end stuff really hits different within 10 minutes. The hashtag Business Tycoon buys out auction for employees dominated online trends. Netizens commented below, "Where can I find a tycoon to make a clean sweep bid for me?" The company's stock price also rose accordingly. I was reviewing the data Isabel had sent me when the bedroom door was suddenly thrown open. Victoria stormed in, smashing things left and right. "What exactly are you trying to do? Are you satisfied now? Ethan and I are laughingstocks because of you." Seeing her hysteria, I frowned and countered, "That's the question I should be asking you. What are you trying to do? First, you casually give away my parents' heirloom to your assistant. Today you try to buy him everything at auction. Don't you owe me an explanation? My parents died tragically in an accident in our 2nd year of marriage. During that dark period, Victoria stayed by my side every day, helping me through the grief. Sincere. Even though your parents are gone, you still have me. I'm your wife, and I'll always be your family." From then on, our relationship deepened quickly, becoming each other's support system. I took over the company my parents left behind and directed a significant portion of our business collaborations to Bellwether Holdings. I helped transform the Bellwether family's small company into a mid-sized enterprise in just 3 years. Hearing the word heirloom, Victoria seemed to deflate, but she still stubbornly retorted, "I told you, it was just a reward for him. I didn't give him the bracelet Mom and Dad gave me, it was just a similar one. Didn't I tell you I still have it?" She held out her hand, showing the jade bracelet, trying to prove it again. I laughed bitterly. She was still lying to me even now. I took her hand, pretending to examine it. "Is that so? Then did you know Mom and Dad had our names engraved on this bracelet?" Victoria's expression changed, looking slightly unnatural. "Names? What names?" She looked into my eyes, then suddenly seemed to realize something. "You're trying to trick me. I've worn it for 5 years. How come I never knew about any names?" "Don't try to change the subject, Sincere Clark. You ruined my designs, almost made me miss the competition. And then you publicly humiliated me and Ethan at the auction, making us the butt of jokes. What the hell do you want?" Seeing her refusal to face the truth, any remaining illusions I had about her vanished. I took out the reassembled jade bracelet. "See this? Your name. And my name was scratched off by your assistant. Tell me, shouldn't I be angry that you destroyed my parents' final gift? To try to buy out an auction for another man, right in front of your husband. And do you truly not understand what that signifies?" Seeing the proof I presented, panic finally flickered across her face. "I'm sorry, Sincere, I didn't mean to. Pinchy said he wanted a bracelet, and I accidentally gave him the wrong one, the one from your parents. By the time I realized it was too late. Sin, I really didn't do it on purpose. In the auction bid, I truly just wanted to thank him. It meant nothing else." As she spoke, her eyes began to well up, tears falling rhythmically. This was her usual tactic. Whenever she did something wrong, a few tears, and I would usually cave. She thought a single tear would soften me, make me forgive her. But now her tears held no power over me. Not anymore. "Is that so? Victoria Bellwether, do you even believe the words coming out of your own mouth?" I turned, took the prepared divorce agreement from the drawer, and calmly stated, Let's get a divorce. All support for the Bellwether family business will be withdrawn within a month. Chapter 6. Victoria stared at me, incredulous. Divorce? Does he want a divorce over such a small thing? I laughed, exasperated. Small thing? My parents' memory is a small thing? My feelings are a small thing? What constitutes a big deal to you? Buying out auctions for your assistant, your own fashion designs? Victoria Bellwether, how did I never realize how selfish and cold-blooded you are? Sin told you I will not tolerate betrayal, and yet time and again you cross the line for your assistant. And what do you take our marriage for? Seeing my solemn expression, Victoria fell silent for a moment, still trying to justify herself. There's really nothing going on between him and me. I just saw his potential and hard work. I was wrong. I'll cut off all contact with him from now on. Can you please give me one more chance? But I had already given her 2 chances. I looked at her, my voice firm. Divorce. It's not negotiable. She grabbed the divorce agreement I offered and tore it to shreds. Impossible, I won't divorce you. I will never sign these papers, not even if I die. My voice turned icy. If you don't sign, then prepare for a divorce lawsuit. With that, I turned and left. Chapter 7. After leaving the Bellwether residence, I returned to the office to start organizing company files. I initiated the process of cutting all ties and collaborations with Bellwether Holdings. During this period, I didn't receive a single call from Victoria. However, I frequently saw updates about her through her assistant's social media posts. They attended exhibitions together, worked together, ate together, went to the movies. Ethan Miller posted one photo after another of them together, as if completing some sort of checklist. It stirred no emotion in me. I simply instructed all departments to expedite the severance of business dealings with Bellwether Holdings. Victoria remained oblivious to all this, assuming I was just sulking, until a week later when her father, Arthur Bellwether, called her. Victoria, what's going on between you and Sincere? Why have all the Clark Group's collaborative projects with us been halted? I can't reach Sincere. You need to go find him quickly. The company needs that funding to operate. At that moment, Victoria had just finished work and was having dinner with her assistant at a restaurant. Hearing her father's words, something exploded in her mind. Victoria asked, confused, "Dad, what are you saying? Sincere really suspended cooperation with Bellwether Holdings?" "Yes, and it had stopped 3 days ago. Personnel didn't inform me until the cash flow dried up today." "And did you two have a fight? You need to go appease him quickly." "Son, wretched girl, what did you do? How did you make Sincere so angry?" "Forget it, asking you won't get me anywhere. My mother and I bought tickets to Astoria City for tomorrow morning." After hanging up, Victoria immediately called me, only to find she had been blocked. She hastily finished dinner with Ethan Miller. Returning home, she discovered that all my belongings were gone. She scrolled through her contacts for a long time, realizing she hadn't saved the number of my assistant, Isabel Stone. Just then, her lawyer called. "Ms. Bellwether, your husband, Sincere Clark, has filed for divorce. Son, you available to come to the courthouse tomorrow?" "Ben, divorce? We're not getting divorced, you have the wrong number." A wave of panic washed over Victoria. She hung up abruptly. Only at that moment did she truly understand. Sincere Clark really wanted a divorce. Chapter 8. The next day I was in a board meeting when Victoria burst in, interrupting. "Sincere Clark, what is the meaning of this? You really want to divorce me?" The executives exchanged glances, discreetly stood up, left, and thoughtfully closed the door behind them. I remained seated, looking at her haggard face, and asked with amusement, "What? Was I not clear enough last time?" She looked incredulous. "Why? I've already apologized. What more do you want?" "I admit this Cold War has gone on too long. I was wrong. From now on, I'll appease you immediately until you're not angry anymore. Can we stop this, please?" I stood up, looking at her with cold, distant eyes. "You still think I'm just throwing a tantrum? Victoria Bellwether, where does this confidence come from? This certainty that I can't live without you? When did I ever give you such a profound misconception? Have you forgotten? Ours was an arranged marriage, a union of convenience. At my words, Victoria's face turned deathly pale. She rushed forward and hugged me. No, that's not true, Sincere. I love you. From now on, I'll listen to whatever you say. Please, don't divorce me, okay? As if to prove her sincerity, she stood on her toes, trying to kiss my lips. Seeing her lunge at me, I pushed her away in disgust. Victoria Bellwether, what kind of person do you take me for? Get out, don't force me to have you thrown out. Victoria stumbled and fell to the floor, her hair disheveled. Just as I considered helping her up, the meeting room door opened again. It was Arthur and Eleanor Bellwether, but behind them stood Ethan Miller. Eleanor saw Victoria on the floor and rushed over, heartbroken, helping her up and anxiously asking what happened. Ethan, ever attentive, took a bandage from his pocket and applied it to a scrape on Victoria. Arthur Bellwether, currently concerned only with the family business, looked straight at me. Sincere, did our Victoria do something wrong? Why did you halt the projects with Bellwether Holdings? The $50 million investment promised this month never arrived either. Let's talk this through. Marriages inevitably have friction. It's better to clear the air than let it affect business cooperation. My gaze shifted to Victoria, now leaning against Ethan Miller, then back to Arthur. I stated firmly, "We're getting divorced. Naturally, there's no need for further cooperation." Hearing this, shock flashed in Arthur's eyes. Divorce? This marriage was approved and arranged by both sets of parents. How could it come to divorce? You're not impulsive children, Sincere. I've always treated you like my own son. Is there some misunderstanding between you and Victoria? Eleanor Bellwether also came over to persuade me. Sincere, before your parents passed, they asked us to take good care of you. What are you doing? What on earth happened? Just talk it out. Did our Victoria do something to wrong you? I'll discipline her. Please, just give her one more chance. Victoria also approached, her eyes red, apologizing. Honey, I was wrong. Please forgive me one more time, okay? I glanced at them all, my eyes finally resting on Arthur Bellwether. There's no misunderstanding. The feelings are gone. Therefore, this marriage is no longer necessary. How can the feelings be gone? I still love you, honey. I love you. Victoria threw herself into my arms again. She was banking on her parents being present, assuming I wouldn't reject her publicly, but I simply pushed her away, looked her straight in the eye, and said, word by word, Victoria Bellwether, are you truly unaware of what you've done? Do you want me to tell your parents right here, right now? Victoria looked at me defiant. I don't think I did anything wrong. Go ahead, say it. Seeing her obstinance, I retrieved my parents' desecrated heirloom. This was the gift my parents insisted on giving her before they died. She gave it away to her own assistant. Ours was always a marriage of convenience. She shows blatant disrespect for my parents. There is no longer any need for this alliance. One, I am grateful for the care you both have shown me, but gratitude and marriage are two different things. When the marriage is broken because the love is gone, I turned, took a new divorce agreement from my office drawer. One, Mr. Bellwether, this is the new divorce agreement. And over the years I did develop feelings for her, and I have felt gratitude towards you both. And therefore I've included a partial property settlement. This sum should help you weather the current storm. But beyond this, I can do no more. No, I won't sign. Victoria stared at the divorce papers. Just like last time, she tried to snatch them and tear them up. But this time, I looked at her coldly. This is your last chance. Sign the papers, we part amicably, and you receive compensation that can help the Bellwether family survive this crisis. If you remain stubborn and refuse to sign, forget whether Bellwether Holdings survives this crisis. There's no guarantee you won't walk away with nothing when I sue for divorce. After all, the Clark Group retains the best divorce lawyers in the country. I'll give you 3 days to consider. My words hung in the air. Confusion flickered in Arthur Bellwether's eyes. He stopped Victoria's actions. He walked over and took the divorce agreement into his own hands. "Since you're so insistent on divorce, I won't try to persuade you anymore. We'll talk sense into Victoria. We will give you a proper resolution." Chapter 9. Victoria, her parents, and the assistant left the company. I opened the door and warned Isabel and the head of HR, "Next time, do not allow any unauthorized personnel one step inside this company. If you can't manage security, you can manage your own departure." Isabel and the HR head bowed their heads in acknowledgement. I stood in my office, looking down at the stream of people below, my feelings complex. I had expected this divorce to drag on. Unexpectedly, the very next day, Arthur Bellwether had someone deliver the signed divorce agreement. The moment the settlement funds were transferred to Bellwether Holdings, our marriage was officially over. I had no further connection to the Bellwether family. In the following period, I focused entirely on work, and my career flourished. As for Victoria, after the divorce, Arthur Bellwether summoned her back to the family home. Post-divorce, Ethan Miller's ambition began to surface fully. He begged Victoria to take him back, wanting to continue as her assistant. But Arthur Bellwether despised him. He blamed Ethan for ruining his daughter's marriage to a wealthy husband. Besides, he saw Ethan as nothing more than a designer's assistant with a pretty face and no real ability. So, he relentlessly pressured Victoria to cut ties with Ethan. But Ethan, having latched onto a wealthy connection, wasn't about to give up easily. Learning of Arthur's attitude, he pretended to take Victoria out for a farewell dinner. He drugged her drink and had sex with her. The next day, Ethan claimed Victoria had taken his first time and demanded she take responsibility. He threatened suicide otherwise. He then used intimate videos and photos of himself and Victoria to blackmail Arthur Bellwether into allowing him to marry Victoria. He threatened to leak the images online if refused. Previously, Arthur would have dismissed such tactics, but Bellwether Holdings had just been pulled back from the brink of bankruptcy. He couldn't risk another crisis engulfing the company. He had no choice but to agree to the marriage. Victoria was railroaded into a hasty secret wedding with Ethan Miller. However, less than 2 months after their marriage, Arthur Bellwether suffered a stroke due to exhaustion and stress and was hospitalized. Victoria and Ethan had to step in to manage the company. Ethan was parachuted in as general manager, while Victoria became vice president. Victoria had never had experience managing a company. She lacked foresight on many projects, leading to significant losses in multiple business areas. And Ethan Miller was even more incompetent. Unfamiliar with the business operations, he interfered randomly based on personal preference, disrupting normal business flow. In less than half a year, Bellwether Holdings was once again on the brink of collapse. Chapter 10. By the time Arthur Bellwether regained consciousness, a year had passed. Bellwether Holdings was beyond saving. Saddled with massive debt, it declared bankruptcy. Millions in debt, a gravely ill father, the Bellwether family's former glory, was gone. Ethan Miller began arguing constantly with Victoria. Within 2 months, leveraging his good looks, Ethan latched onto another wealthy woman, this one in her 40s. He constantly belittled Victoria and repeatedly demanded a divorce. Victoria refused to grant it. So, Ethan packed his bags and moved into the wealthy woman's home. Upon learning that his son-in-law had crawled into another woman's bed and was abusing his daughter, Arthur Bellwether couldn't take the shock. He suffered another massive health event and died, essentially died of anger. After Arthur's death, Eleanor Bellwether spent her days in tears and developed severe depression. Victoria had to find work alone. While working as a waitress in a hotel, Victoria saw her husband, Ethan, laughing and flirting with the other woman. When Ethan saw Victoria, he not only pretended not to know her, but also made sarcastic remarks. In a fit of rage and despair, Victoria grabbed a fruit knife and stabbed Ethan Miller to death. Before being incarcerated, she came to find me. She knelt before me, kowtowing until her forehead bled, begging me to help care for her mother. Eleanor Bellwether had been a friend of my late mother. I couldn't bear to see her destitute and alone. I paid a substantial sum to a quality nursing home and arranged for Eleanor to be admitted. I hoped she could live out her remaining years there in peace. Victoria Bellwether was convicted of intentional homicide and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Before she went in, I visited her to inform her about her mother's arrangements. She looked at me, her eyes moist, seemingly filled with remorse. "I'm sorry, sincere. The biggest regret of my life was divorcing you." I felt nothing. Detached and cold, I replied, "Victoria Bellwether, it's all in the past. Don't dwell on past choices. We both need to look forward now." Walking out of the prison, the sky was clear and bright. It felt like a fresh start.